We had some really interesting reality TV shows that came out during the early 2000s. We had shows such as Parental Control, Amish in the City, and Who Wants to Marry My Dad. Actually, I feel like I might check out some of these shows. But today we're going to be talking about one of the other shows in the era of television, wifeswap. But before I get into the rest of this, welcome to Quick Chat with Jay. I like to talk about movies, TV shows, and really anything that interests me. So, with wifeswap. So basically the show is about taking two families, having the wives swap for about like 2 weeks, and then they just see what they can change in those households to see if they can have the house function better. Got it? Good. In the very first episode of this series, we have the Pitts and the Policchio families.
This week, the Policchios, an obsessively tidy and ordered family from Pennsylvania. Caprice is a control freak who loves making lists and hates mess and animals. And the Pitts, a flamboyant and noisy family from Connecticut. Bambi never does any housework. Her home is filthy, and she has 25 pets.
First up, we have Caprice Policchio from the Policchio family. Caprice is a self-described clean freak who cleans the house for like many hours throughout the day. She does not like having animals in her home.
One thing that undermined the perfection of the household was when son Ian got a hamster.
It left little droppings everywhere till we could catch it, so I wasn't pleased.
Hamster was called Tom. He lived for quite some time and he fell off his cage and died.
Oh, I was happy when he died, yes. And he tried to get another one, and I said, no, that's it. So we've never had a hamster after that, gerbil, nothing.
And she doesn't allow noise to be in the house.
The other thing that's banned from the house is noise.
At every other house, there's some noise, and here there's no noise. My mom keeps to herself, me and my brother keep to ourselves, and everyone just keeps to themselves then. And we're all quiet.
Don dreams of playing in a jazz band, but must practice in his bedroom with his headphones on.
Honestly, I do not get the part about like there having to be complete silence in the house, because there have been times where like my house has been completely silent and I just feel like it's very ominous. Like for real, I get scared because I feel like something bad is about to happen, because I'm just like, what the hell is this so quiet for? The next family that we have is the Pitts, and their household is the complete opposite of the Policchios one.
The Pitts live in a chaotic, rundown house near Hartford, Connecticut. Ken and Bambi's family consists of 3 kids and 25 animals. To add to the chaos, the kids have regular sleepovers. And all the animals run wild around the house.
All right, so I watched this episode a couple times, just to make sure that I got everything I wanted to get for this video. And the thing that is the most confusing to me is the fact that this family just has a pet kangaroo in their house. Admittedly, I'm not that well educated about kangaroos, but my main concern is like, what if the kangaroo is playing with one of the kids and like things get a little bit too aggressive and the kangaroo just decides to, like 1-2 punch one of the kids? Like, I just don't really, I don't know. For me, I don't like that. This comes up later in the episode, but I really cannot get over how like there is no structure in this home. Like, do not get me wrong. When I was a kid, I kind of used to hate the rules that my parents would have for me. But now that I'm older, I kind of understand why those rules were in place for a reason. If anything, it made sure I grew up with some sense. But with the house functioning like this, it all starts to make sense when we get to what they're about to say next.
My parenting style is being a friend, having fun.
We hang out with each other. We go out, have a good time. It's reliving our youth again.
In case you don't know, I'm not a parent. Probably won't be one for a very, 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 very long time. But shouldn't there be a line between parent and friend? Like, obviously there's nothing wrong with hanging out with your parents and doing fun things with them, but like a friend and a parent, those are two totally different relationships that come with different boundaries. So I don't feel like with Bambi and Ken like blurring those lines is kind of confusing their kids just a little bit about how things are supposed to be. Also, their house is just really dirty, but I guess Bambi is a scientist because this is what she says about the house being dirty.
Housework is not a priority. Did you know if you have a little bit of dirt in your house, you're actually healthier than if you clean your entire house?
I'd really love to see her research on that because that don't make sense to me. It's the day of the swap, and Caprice says this as soon as she walks into the Pitts' home.
smells.
I know it had to be foul in there for that to be the first thing she says when she walks into that house. And this is what Bambi says when she walks into the Policchios house.
Everything is just a little too perfect. Very clean, but it's more like a hotel suite to me.
I feel so silly saying the Policchios name because it's like, it reminds me of Pinocchio. Like, I kind of want to go like, oh, Policchio, but I don't know. Is that, am I appropriating an Italian? It's okay. The Pitts home is just way too chaotic for me. Same night that Caprice came, the kids, they invited over 10 other kids for a sleepover.
It's a regular sleepover night for the Pitts boys, and 10 friends have arrived. It all becomes too much for Caprice.
Good night.
She heads off to bed, leaving the boys and 2-year-old Kendall to carry on the party.
Caprice did very well. You know, she was a trooper. She lasted almost 5 minutes.
First of all, there's just way too many damn kids in that house. And two, I feel like y'all house is not that presentable to have all those people in there on top of having all those animals in there as well. I just know if I was one of those kids who went over, I would have been the one to call my parents to tell them to come get me.
It's 6 a.m. Sunday morning. Caprice has slept for less than 3 hours, and the party's still in full swing.
I heard screaming, yelling, jumping, running. I felt it was disrespectful and inconsiderate.
My question is, why didn't Ken try to actually like stop them and tell them to quiet down when he knew that Caprice went up and tried to get some rest? He does know that he could have told them to be quiet, right? But I guess he just didn't want to be the bad guy. He wants to be their friend. He wants to be the cool dad. And I'm not done coming down on these husbands because I just like the way that Dawn was talking to Bambi.
Bambi's first task of the morning is to present breakfast to Dawn's exacting standards.
Let's see.
Saucers,
And then
okay.
we'll put like one over here, okay, for this stuff. Then you don't set it directly on the table. Oh yeah,
we
wrong
need-
bagels too. We use different bagels.
Wrong bagels.
These, I think, are Ian's bagels. It's certainly very different from what I'm used to because normally we're more done, let's say, sooner. So it's gotten a little bit late this morning. That's stressing me a bit. I mean, I'd like to be going on my other things this morning sooner.
You know she is new to y'all home and she is new to y'all schedule. So why would you expect her to get things right for the very first time? That's just something that really irritates me about people is when they expect you to do something right, but they have not given you any kind of knowledge on how to actually do it. Because he's talking about he's so annoyed about it not being right. And I'm like, well, why didn't you get your ass up and why didn't you set the table if it's that important to you? Or you could at least have taught her how to do it. You can tell that the swap is already getting a little bit too much for Bambi because the next day she tells us that she's already feeling a little bit overwhelmed.
It's too quiet. It's too gloomy. I feel boxed in. I don't like the routine. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable here. It seems impossible to be truly happy here.
Also blame Dawn a bit for her like being overwhelmed and crying because he said something about the coffee not being to his liking.
This is really bad coffee.
Really bad. Okay.
There are some very small things that can get me unhappy or upset. How much did you put in
Way
here?
too weak. I'm pretty sure I did what I thought I was supposed to do.
Bambi asked me how the coffee was, and I said it was pretty bad, and I meant it. It was pretty bad.
It's too weak. That's what you're trying to tell
Yeah.
me, politely.
Yeah.
Way
I'm not
too
even
weak.
going to be polite about it. It's really just too weak.
I'm feeling tired and I'm a little worried I'm not doing it right because it seems like everything is done right in this house.
If it is so important that your coffee is done a certain way, why not just teach her how to do that? Or better yet, get your ass up and do it yourself. Like, you should not be stressing Bambi about that. The night before the wives change the rules, Caprice sits down with Ken and asks him if he's happy with how the house is run.
I believe that Ken does the bulk of the work around here. I think it's a fair situation. I want to find out if he's aware. Are you happy here? I mean, are you happy with the way everything is?
I'm happy with my family. Clutter is everywhere.
Do you think she's a good housekeeper?
I think she doesn't have enough time to be a good housekeeper because she gets bored easy.
I'm getting the sense that she's more of a playmate to the kids. She plays with them to the exclusion of her responsibilities here, helping you out.
Maybe.
But Ken takes this as offense, and I just think that's really dumb to take it as offense because she's really trying to help, and it's not like Caprice was lying about like how the house is.
You know, it's not fair here. You know, you've got the brunt of the work. Your house is the dirtiest house I've ever been in.
Today she showed her animal side. The claws came out. She attacked the family. She attacked the house. Matter of fact, she insulted us.
It's the night of the rule change, and the wives, they have lists of how things will be done this week.
Everything is spontaneous. There is nothing planned.
This house is the dirtiest house I've been in a long time. Every surface, every wall, every picture, everything's getting cleaned.
Life is for living, not making lists.
We're gonna have some bedtimes, okay? Kendall is also gonna have a bedtime. Hi. In her bed at 8 o'clock.
One of the main things that Caprice does is she gets rid of most of the animals that's in the Pitts home.
Let's start in here.
Step one of Caprice's mission to bring order into the household is to get rid of the family pets.
He needs to go, okay?
Without the family's knowledge, she's removing 22 of their 25 animals.
They smell. I have to believe that there are germs and bugs and diseases associated with these filthy pets.
They really do not like that.
Hold on.
Where's the prairie dog?
Where's all of that? Hey guys, they're not here all together.
I have cut down the number of pets from 25 to 3.
There is nothing good for me to say about her right now. I do not like her at all.
She gives them a few other rules, but I think they don't give a damn about them. Like, I feel like she is now the devil to them because she has removed most of the pets out of that house. But the funny thing about this is that as Caprice removed animals from the Pitts house, Bambi has added some to the Policchios.
You wanted a pet. It's the beginning. We have a fish.
Cute, too.
And we have a plant.
All right.
So 2 living, breathing creatures. And there's a trail around the house. I want you to take your brother slowly, and I'd like you to follow the trail.
Bambi has one last surprise for Ian and Adam. And Dawn.
Don doesn't take this well that now they have a cat because he believes that the boys won't take care of it correctly.
The boys seem to be happy,
Sure, I would expect they would be.
and you don't seem to be happy.
No, I'm not at all. They won't be responsible for that animal, and it'll fall onto Caprice and I. It's how she really believes she would like to see the house run. And the issue I have is bringing the cat into the house. I really have a problem with that. I'm pissed, okay? But that's not what you do to a kid's mind.
And man, to that, I'm just like, give them a chance to prove that they actually can take care of the cat. You can't just be like, oh, they're not ready for this. And for him to say, like, you can't mess with a child's mind like that, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's an animal. I don't know what he thought. It's not like she was giving him to talk about life and death or something. I don't know why he was like, that's wrong to mess with a child's mind like that. Back in the Pitts home, things aren't going so smoothly as Caprice has enforced a new bedtime for the youngest child.
Ken has to start being more of a parent, less of a friend.
The problems in this house are the direct result of 2 people, a husband and wife, who are not parents. They want the kids to like them. You can't always be liked by your kids. You've got to do what's right. You've got to be tough.
You did this to me.
You did it, because if she had had a bedtime from the time she was little, you did
It's
this,
not that,
okay?
it's
Yes, it
when-
is.
Also, the next day, she wants to move some furniture out of the home just so she can actually clean it up. And she finds some... You know, I'll just let the clip play.
Oh my gosh. I think it's poop. Oh, I know it is. Oh my.
They're just so disgusting. And it looks like they've been sitting there for a while. Like, that is dried up. I just don't get, how do you have all those animals and you do not clean up after them? The kids come home from school and they see that like the house is a little bit more emptier, and the oldest, he has a problem with this.
Where the heck is everything?
How come everything is empty?
There's like nothing here.
God.
What the hell did they do? Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, they got worse. Now, how come you didn't talk to us about taking these things out?
Who said Dad was here?
Who said we would agree with
he
all
can't
this?
make our decisions for us.
Your dad agreed with taking stuff down and boxing it up. It's not thrown away.
I asked you to consult me first. You're making decisions without us.
Wait a minute. Consult you? You're my son. Okay. You're going to listen to things that are done and be open-minded.
I do have to give Ken some props. He did set him straight and let him know, like, I'm your father. I don't really have to consult you about anything. You're the child in this situation. But then again, as I'm giving him prompts, I'm like, this is a symptom of the problem y'all created. We want to be y'all kids' friends. And that's why he felt so comfortable to speak to his dad like that. We check back in with Bambi and the rest of the Policchios, and we see that she's added some more life into their home.
I'm not missing my mom at all right now because Bambi's pretty cool.
Not everybody. It's hot.
Great.
Welcome home.
You look great. That's a good outfit. I like these.
Aren't they nice?
Yeah.
They're colorful.
I think the last time we bought... I like what I've seen tonight. I think this is sort of very festive looking and lively and so on.
Honestly, it's just what this house needs, because it seems like everybody was kind of like unhappy with the living situation and not really having quality family time with each other. So I'm glad that she did that for the house. Also, when it cut back to how Ken is doing, this is what the oldest son says about his dad.
Dad is acting like that father figure. He was always our best friend. I could talk to him. I could tell him anything. But now I just feel like, you know, he's my father. He's a parent. I can't tell him anything anymore.
Which is normal. That's how, like, not like you're not supposed to tell your parents stuff, but like, that's how parents act. Like, I feel like this set this boy up to like not understand how that dynamic is supposed to work. It's getting around the time when they're about to swap back to their original homes, but I do want to add this clip in because I feel like Bambi did something really nice for Dawn.
It's supposed to be a nice family place, a nice jazz place where people could actually get up and play instruments or perform, and I am hoping that Dawn does perform.
Hey man, we would be flipped out if you just sit and do a shuffle blues tune with us.
Oh my God.
Like a 12-bar in a key of E. It'll be just fun. It's
All right.
cool, isn't it? Our good friend Don who's going to sit in with us.
It's time for the couples to sit down and talk about their experiences that they had, and the Policchios go first. Dawn suggests that they should break their routine a little bit more because Bambi opened his eyes to seeing how fun that can be and how much needed that could be for the family.
I got pushed in a lot of new directions, and that was fun. Doing things differently, doing different things
Right,
from what we've normally done.
routine.
I think that break in routine was good, and I think that, you know, one of the things I would take away maybe is let's do some jarring kinds of things like that more often.
Then it's Caprice's turn, and things really don't go that well because Bambi immediately gets like defensive with her.
I walked in and the smell just assaulted me. Your house was the dirtiest place I've ever seen.
Our house is not just a house, it's a home, and it's lived in, and there's love there, and we take care of each other. And I don't think it's dirty.
It's filthy. There's stuff.
Your house is like a museum, like a hotel. It's so cold when you go in there. When I walked into the house, I felt dead.
I hate to say it, but I do understand why Bambi is getting defensive, but I truly think that Caprice did not mean it with malicious intent. I really think that she was genuinely trying to give Bambi some like advice on how to change her household up. And honestly, I feel like Bambi does not have any friends because I don't see how she lives in a dirty and noisy home and she thinks that's okay. Like, a friend would have told her like, hey, I don't come over to your house because it's always noisy and there's poop everywhere. I think you should change that. But Bambi, she takes a slight at Caprice when she says this.
Ken is a saint. I mean, he has been...
He had to be to put up with you this week, just like Don is. I know you're the matriarch of the house. I know he can't complete anything without you. We are. I've learned after this, you would think the opposite. I learned I liked myself even better.
Which I just think that's way too much to be saying. But it doesn't end there because their little drama becomes a little bit bigger when Caprice tells Bambi about how she removed most of the pets out of the home.
You can't do that to children. You just took away part of my family. Would you like it if I took Ian and put him somewhere?
All I did was try to show you, if I took these things out of my life, this is how I could be. That's fine. If it's not for you, fine.
They're not things. They're family members. They're pets. It's love. You don't mess with that. You don't do that. You don't take a family apart. You took them out of their home environment. I will never forgive you, and I've never said this to anyone in my life. I hate you. I hate you.
Okay, that's just a little bit too dramatic. Like, I understand what she was saying, but I'm like, that is very dramatic. Like, I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, I understand, yeah, maybe Caprice shouldn't have removed all those animals from the house, but then again, you shouldn't have had all those animals in your house to begin with. And especially if you were going to have them in your house, you shouldn't have been letting them poop everywhere. That is so unsanitary. And I am really surprised that no one has said anything about them getting sick, because I'm pretty sure like you can get sick with just feces lying around like that, especially from different species. And also, wouldn't that mean that like there's a lingering smell on their clothes and stuff? So y'all just out here violating people's noses? Anyway, they do a little wrap up about the two homes. Caprice, she says that she's chilled out a lot more. She's allowed the cat to stay, and she does allow her son to have over his friends a little bit more. Like, even she's out there playing basketball with them.
The most important thing I took away from doing the swap was realizing our lives could be much happier, much fuller, and much more fun if I chilled out a bit.
Caprice is so chilled out that she now allows open house for Ian's friends.
It seems like the Policchios home is a little bit more happy. When it comes to the Pitts home, they kept the dining table, but I don't think they really kept anything else. I think that maybe they did change up their parenting style just a little bit, because Bambi says that she's happy that her kids can now look at her and say, hey, I have a mom and a friend at the same time. And the son, he does mention like how he does listen to his dad more when his dad is a little bit more strict.
The kids always thought of me as a friend, and now they're glad that they have a friend and a mother rolled into one.
When my dad is strict, I do listen to him. I do respect him.
What other time do you have to get up?
Wake me up around 7 or something.
Experience has shown me the strength of our family.
I guess it did take a little bit more of Caprice's more parenting style. But yeah, that is the first episode of Wife Swap. I have to say, it was so fun like rewatching this. I have not watched this show in a long time. I feel like I might make more videos about some shows from the early 2000s, just because it seems like a really interesting time in television. So just keep on the lookout for that. If you made it this far in my video, thank you so much for watching. If you like it, please like. If you want to see more content like this from me, please subscribe. By the way, Happy New Year. I hope that you all have a great year. I hope that whatever you are working towards, you're able to achieve it. I'm wishing the same for myself. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye.